London, 1890. A man sits alone at his desk. It's past midnight. The candle is almost gone. Around him, notebooks, dozens of them, newspaper clippings, hand-drawn maps, letters in languages he barely reads. His name is Bram Stoker. He's 43 years old. He manages a theater by day, and by night, he chases something he can't quite name. A story that feels less like invention and more like excavation. Like he's digging something up that was always there, waiting. He doesn't know it yet, but he's about to find a name. And that name is going to change everything. Go back with me, not to London, further, much further, to a place where the wind doesn't stop and the mountains don't let the light through. To a corridor of land wedged between two empires, where princes don't die in bed and mercy is a luxury nobody can afford. Wallachia, 1431. This is where it begins. Vlad III Drăculea is born into a world that is essentially a permanent war. His father, Vlad II, is a military prince, a member of a Christian knightly order called the Order of the Dragon. In Old Romanian, dragon is Dracul, and the son of the dragon, Drăculea. Not devil, not vampire, dragon. But the name is the least of what this child inherits.
He's 11 years old when his father makes a decision that will shape every single thing that comes after. Wallachia needs to survive. The Ottoman Empire is pressing from the south, and to keep the peace, Vlad II does what desperate rulers do. He offers his sons as collateral. Vlad and his younger brother Radu are handed over to Sultan Murad II, hostages, living guarantees that their father will behave. Think about what that means.
Taken from everything you know, placed in a foreign court where everyone speaks a different language, prays to a different god, and watches you with careful, calculating eyes. You are valuable as long as you are useful. The moment you stop being useful, you are nothing. His brother, Radu, adapts. Radu smiles. Radu learns the language, makes friends, earns favor. He becomes, by all accounts, genuinely loved by the Ottoman court. Vlad does not adapt. Vlad watches.
Watches how power is performed, how fear is manufactured, how a man with the right reputation doesn't need walls or armies, just the certainty in other people's minds that crossing him will cost them everything. He's learning, very quietly, very carefully. And then the news arrives from home.
His father has been assassinated. His older brother Mircea, and this detail appears in multiple contemporary chronicles, has been buried alive by rival boyars, political enemies who wanted to make sure there was no coming back. Vlad receives this news from inside Ottoman territory. There is no record of his reaction, no letter, no account from someone who was in the room, just silence. And then, years later, actions.
He reclaims the throne of Wallachia in 1456. It is his third attempt, his second success. He is in his mid-20s. He has spent most of his life as a hostage, a fugitive, or a pretender. Now he is in power. And now everyone is going to understand what those years of watching produced. What Vlad does next is documented, not in legend, not in folklore, in letters, in chronicles, in diplomatic reports sent across Europe by merchants, ambassadors, and clergymen who witnessed it or spoke to those who did. He uses impalement as a systematic instrument of governance. Not occasionally, not in moments of rage, systematically.
There are accounts of foreign ambassadors who arrived at his court and refused, as a matter of their own custom, to remove their turbans in his presence. He had the turbans nailed to their heads. There are accounts of a single Easter banquet where hundreds of boyars he suspected of involvement in his father's death were killed, many of them impaled on stakes of varying heights, arranged by rank.
German chronicle from 1462, the original manuscript survives in archives, describes the approach to his capital at Târgoviște as a forest. Not trees, stakes, thousands of them. Bodies in various states of decay, arranged in rows, a deliberate landscape of consequence. The historical estimate of deaths during his reign ranges between 40,000 and 100,000 people. Those are the numbers in the records. Now here is the part that most people don't tell you. The German chronicles that spread these stories across Europe were not neutral journalism. They were financed and distributed largely by Saxon merchants from Transylvania. Traders that Vlad had taxed heavily, expelled from markets, or simply refused to accommodate. They had money and they had motive.
They're breaking us.
Russian and Romanian Orthodox sources from the same period describe a completely different man. Strict, yes. Brutal when necessary, yes. But also a defender of the weak against the powerful. A prince who, according to one widely circulated story, placed a golden cup at a public fountain and left it there for years. Anyone could drink from it. Nobody stole it, because nobody dared.
Vlad dies in late 1476 or early 1477. The exact circumstances are unclear. Some sources say he fell in battle against the Ottomans. Others suggest he was betrayed. One account claims he was decapitated, his head sent to Constantinople, preserved in honey, displayed as a trophy by Sultan Mehmed II. And his body? The Snagov Monastery, an island in a lake near Bucharest. That is where tradition says he was buried.
1931. A team of Romanian and American archaeologists excavated the site. They opened what was believed to be his tomb. Horse bones, fragments, nothing identifiable. A second location inside the monastery was later examined. An unmarked slab, no inscription, no name. Bones with traces of fine clothing, possibly him. The analysis could not confirm it. The body of Vlad III Drăculea has never been identified with scientific certainty. He disappeared from history the same way he entered it, without warning. Now, come back to London. Come back to Bram Stoker. August 1890. He is in the coastal town of Whitby on holiday, still working, always working. He finds a book in the local library, an account of the principalities of Wallachia and Moldavia, written by a British diplomat named William Wilkinson, published in 1820. It is not a dramatic book. It is dry, administrative, the kind of thing only a certain type of reader would ever pick up. But on one page, in a footnote, almost invisible, there is a note about a word. Dracula, in the Wallachian language, meaning devil or dragon, or one who performs remarkable deeds, used as the name for a prince who is known for his cunning and cruelty. Stoker underlines it.
In his research notebooks, which survive, which have been studied, which are partially published, the creature he has been building for years had a different name: Count Vampire. Generic, functional, forgettable. After that footnote, the name changes: Dracula. And here is the thing that keeps researchers up at night.
There is no evidence in those same notebooks that Stoker knew the full story of Vlad III. He found the name, he knew what it roughly meant, he knew the region, the geography, the folklore, but the specific history, the hostage child, the impaled forests, the missing body, there is no clear sign he knew any of it. Which means the monster he built was not a portrait of Vlad. It was something the name conjured on its own, as if the name carried weight that had nothing to do with Stoker's intentions, as if it remembered.
Today, Bran Castle in Romania markets itself as Dracula's castle. It receives over 800,000 visitors a year. Vlad almost certainly never lived there. The connection is entirely commercial. The real fortress Vlad used, Poenari, built on a cliff, accessible only by hundreds of stone steps cut into rock, sits mostly empty, crumbling. Tourists rarely make the climb. The monster is more visited than the man, the fiction more famous than the history.
And somewhere under Romanian soil, or in an Ottoman archive, or simply nowhere at all because the centuries took everything, whatever remained of Vlad III Drăculea is still unaccounted for. His tomb empty, his name immortal. A man who killed tens of thousands to be remembered is remembered because a tired writer in a library found his name in a footnote. There is something in that which feels like justice, and something in it which feels like exactly the kind of trick the devil would play.
Have you ever seen a mysterious figure in the dark? A shadow you can't explain? Share your story in the comments or send it to crypticzoneofficial@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.